Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Let me see who's here. All right. Oh, wow. Y'all been having quite a conversation. I'm trying to go back to the Mary H. Thank you so much for being first. Um, Followed by Fancy Fancy and a whole bunch of other people. Okay, so I'm just going to skip through since it's already taken so long to get started. Okay, and I thought I saw a super sticker. There we go. Lex says, Rohini says, segment just as there was William of Orange, we unfortunately have William of Amber. What is it, Aubergine? Hey, William of Orange was hot. Did you ever see him before? Yeah, he has that kind of he's like the strong silent type. And if I recall, I think that one of his people took him out. But yeah, William of Orange, he was a dish. Let me see if I can find William of Orange. Okay. Orange, the House of Orange. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. I found him. See there? Got the strong look, got a clef, right? He's got the clef in his chin. Um, got those chiseled features, right? That's the famous William of Orange. Yeah, he was very let me see. I'm gonna say he was kind of like the what's the actor? Gosh, I can't remember his name. But yeah, back in the day. The talented Mr. Ripley, the English guy. What's his name? Oh well, I forget his name, but yeah, he is a far cry from William of Wales. I mean, look at that hairline. He's got that very youthful hairline. Um, Let me see. Let's compare the two. William. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No. Just no. William of Eggplant compared to William of Orange, there is no comparison. See what I mean? He's got the armored suit, got a little stash, got the little not really a goatee, but yeah, that's what a difference a few centuries make, right? Okay. Uh Oh, you mean before I introduce the modern day William, huh? Well, and so you know, guys, the House of Orange, that's the royal family of the Netherlands, the House of Orange. So um, those that's where they and that's why I believe I guess that's why the flag for the Netherlands has it does it have orange in it? I think it does. Anyway, on days when they're celebrating the royal family, they people break out their orange clothing. So I love the color orange. I think it's a powerful color. It's in some cases it looks very much like gold. So depending on the orange, of course. But let's see here. Yeah, young Mr. Burns. Yeah, you're right about that. Young Mr. Burns. Let's see. Hey, Leisha. Thank you for being here. Black Queen, Mama Jane, Judy Matasset, Susie Q, B10 Powell, Martine, Leslie F, Ozell Dunlap. You know, I love that name, Ozell. Such a beautiful name. Vanessa Jones, Wanda MV, Eulebia's here. Okay. Lady T. Okay. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's see here. Check that out. All right. Uh, and we're good. Good, good, good. All right. So, got my slides ready. All right. Yep. Oh, let me get rid of William of Orange. I bet he was really short, though, you know? Not that that's the problem, because everybody was short back in those days, but uh, I was about to quote Millie Jackson, but maybe that would be in bad taste. Um, it's a little bit too early into the the stream to go burlesque, so I'll just keep that to myself. You know, that says a lot about me, that out of all of the philosophers and poets and authors in this world, who do I quote the most? Millie Jackson. There are some very learned people in this world, and yet when it's time to make some kind of deep and profound quote, I tend to gravitate toward Millie Jackson. I don't know why. But she be knowing, you know what I mean? She be knowing. So there's not too many things. There's not too many things in life that you can't have something deep to say about. If you need to have just the right words, I'm telling you, try Millie Jackson. MR, thank you so much for the I'm sorry, for the Cash App. Thank you very much for the Cash App. Uh, remember when Millie Jackson said, I'm scared, and I can't say the rest. I'm scared, and I won't say the rest. I may be scared, but I can't say the rest. A little scared, a little startled. Okay, let me stop before I slip and say something. Serious. All right, let me get serious. Anyway, so there's that slim down monarchy. Well, actually, that's not the slim down monarchy. That's the queen showing people how it's done. Yeah, mostly they white, but at least there's people up there, right? Compared to the modern day royal family, where there's so many spaces, so many holes on the balcony, you could just like drive a truck through it. It's just so empty up there. You have to shout to the person next to you because it's so empty. Anyway, congratulations to the team at Walt Disney. Walt Disney Corporation is celebrating 100 years today. 100 years of magic. Yes, Walt Disney, 100 years of magic. And I say keep the magic coming. Um, there's some very murky legacy to the Disney Corporation, to Walt Disney himself. Like any corporation that big, they weren't always the nicest people, but none of that matters when you put those ears on and you start singing "It's a Small World After All." Some of those cartoons that seems to exploit the ethnicity of people. It was a different time, but for the most part, it's just Disney. Disneyland, Disney World. I was blessed enough to go to both when I was a child. Um, you think about it now, especially growing up at the time I did. The first time I went on an airplane, I went to Disney World, and then the next time it was to Disneyland. It was so special, and it was everything that you could have wanted it to be. It was amazing. I still have like vivid memories of it, even though I was a child. So, and then of course the movies, the fairy tale, all that kind of stuff. Again, we have to compartmentalize some of those things that were not so pleasant because it was a different time. But when you know better, you do better, according to Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better, right? So we know better. Mama Jane, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. So, hey, Rohini. Let me see here. Terry H. Okay. Let me. Oh, Mama Jane. Did I just? Yes. Thank you very much for the super sticker. Okay. Sorry about that. I got just a little bit distracted there. Okay. All right. And hey, Anne of Duchess of Success. Thank you to the Archwell Foundation for celebrating International Day of the Girl with Girl Scouts from Troop 6000. We appreciate your friendship and support. As you can see, they got those bags of merch, 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 merch. Gotta get some merch, 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 merch. Wanna get some merch, 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 merch. Yeah, they got the bags of merch. Probably hand packed by the team at the Archwell Foundation. I love when I see those photos of the Archwell team packing those bags because I know on the other side of it, there's going to be someone extremely happy that they got their merch, merch, merch. Um, why they have not made a song about that, I don't know. But how lucky can you get, right? And of course, we've seen the Archwell hats, the stainless steel water bottle. I've seen an Archwell pin that came from the day of the meeting on the 10th. They had the Archwell pin, so there is some merch out there. There's some merch out there, and maybe someone within the sound of my voice was fortunate enough to receive some of that merch, merch, merch. But yeah, if you're lucky enough to get it, I'm sure it's everything. Um, but until then, the rest of us will just have to be a bit green with envy. But yeah, so, and if you remember, Mama Doria was actually, there's that photograph of her with the Girl Scouts. You say Girl Scout, I say Thin Mint. Girl Scout, Thin Mint. Girl Scout, Thin Mint. I um I'm telling you, them Thin Mints, ooh, I go through a pack of those things. It doesn't make any sense how fast I go through some of those Thin Mints. Always my favorite. And then after that, actually, when I get to Thin Mints, I usually just, I'm miserable. I don't want to see another one by the time I'm done with them. I don't even want to see another Thin Mint. I'm all like, Thin Mint out at that point. So, good stuff, though. I have to say, good stuff. And after that, I don't know what's my other favorite. Um, I know I love the Thin Mints, and then after that, it could be anything. It just kind of drops off after the Thin Mints. So, okay, let me see here. Thin Mints, all summer cookies. Yeah, yeah. What is it? February, March. That's when the Girl Scout cookies come out, right? Yeah. Yeah, and even though they're mass produced, I don't care. I don't know if I would want a kid kids are challenged when it comes to hygiene. I don't know that I would want a kid making my cookies for me. I would rather they come out of a nice, clean factory. Um, no, no offense to kids, but they're not so reliable when it comes to hand washing and such. I just don't trust them. Um, you know what I'm saying? And then, to me, it's not a classroom; it's a petri dish. Yeah, it's not a classroom; it's a petri dish, and it's never a matter of if they're going to get you. It's always a matter of how bad they're going to get you. Uh, oh, and then of course there's that moment of silence when somebody say, "Oh, so and so wasn't feeling so good. Yeah, everybody at their school is sick. Well, then why did you bring them over here? Why? What are you trying to get me to?" No, honestly, I like kids. I really do. Mostly when they're leaving, but I like kids. They're fun. They're fun. They're just not so reliable when it comes to hygiene. Okay, so let's get on with it then. All right, so World Central Kitchen. This World Food Day hashtag World. Is it World Food Day? No, is it? No. Anyway, World Central Kitchen is participating in the Hunger Action Double Match. If we raise $25,000, we'll be granted an additional 50,000, meaning your support is matched 2 to 1. Join us in ensuring people receive fresh meals in their greatest time of need. Donate at the World Central Kitchen. Well, I'm trying to think, when was the last time I made a donation? I'll do something. I'll do something. Yeah, I'll do something. I'm not sure when, but I'll let you guys know. I'll post something on the community tab. So look for that later, and then we'll be able to do something if anybody chooses to. But just I ask you, try to make sure. I always do this. Try to make sure you can put it in Harry and Meghan's name whenever there's a space for that, just so they know that it's coming from the Sussex Squad. So that way, even though it's outside of one of the fundraisers, the many fundraisers that we've had, at least they'll know that it comes from the Sussex Squad. Always important. Uh, I mean, if you choose to, no pressure. So let's get on to this. There is an illustration right there of that moment. And I know as late as today, people were still doubting. Not everybody. I gravitated toward, yes, it is authentic. Yes, that is the Sussexes, and so on. Yet the doubts persist. Well, to alleviate any further doubts, well, let's go over this one more time. So, there's a distant photo of Harry and Meghan. Now, I even heard Anita of My Duke and I, she said, you know what? The reason why there's nobody around is because those people are gone back to work. She said, this is the Caribbean. Anita had no doubt that this photo was authentic. Now, of course, Anita of My Duke and I, who is like a super squatty, Anita, who has managed to make the Duchess of Sussex smile and laugh. Anita, who has been there on occasions to drown out the paparazzi and cheer on the Sussexes. If she says it's authentic, then it's authentic, right? I'm going to go with Anita. Also, I'm like a amateur photographer. I have a DSLR. I take photos all the time. I have thousands of photos, from here, there, and everywhere. And when you take a lot of photos, you tend to study the shadows. You tend to watch your shadows, and from the looks of things, it looked quite authentic to me. Well, again, that is the way it looks this time of year. This is an area where there's exclusive resorts. As they said, it's the place where billionaires go to escape from the millionaires. Huh? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? It's the place where billionaires go to escape from the millionaires. Wait, how did that happen? All right. So that being said, take a look here. I pixelated these photos because, yes, I did promise to show them, but I didn't promise to show the Sussexes clearly. But I pixelated these photos. It would appear, it would appear that the U.S. Customs and Border Protection greeted the plane right there on the tarmac. And that appeared to be the Sussexes. So, you know, I I pixelated them, but eventually they're going to be all over squatting them tomorrow, so you can see them yourself if you like. But that appears to be the Duchess of Sussex. Yeah, that appears to be the Duchess of Sussex exiting the plane, and right there behind her the Duke of Sussex. So yes, they were on vacation. That seemed to be quite accurate. These came out of, I guess, about a couple hours ago, maybe. But yeah, so yeah, too bad they are still being um, stalked. But these photos may have been taken by someone at the airport. I doubt if a photographer would have been able to get that kind of access. But someone who, well, then again, it could have been a photographer. You never know. But I'm going to tell you how this happened. And this is nothing that people don't know already. So don't get mad. But they saw the other photo, right? They saw the other photo and realizing that Harry and Meghan were likely in the Caribbean. Now, remember, the first photo was not credited, right? That first photo was not credited. So, realizing that the Sussexes were in the Caribbean is quite obvious that they were going to watch the tail numbers on the planes. Now, it's a matter of public record. um, Elon Musk was actually trying to buy off this kid, allegedly, so that because this kid had made a website or he had a Facebook page or something that was dedicated to Elon Musk movement. And the way he was able to do that was just by simply following the tail number. So I believe that was the same thing that they were able to figure out with Tyler Perry. Um, that particular time, just before the borders closed, that plane with that tail number was the one that took off. So they know. So this is likely how this happened. They were watching to see who was flying out of the Grenadines, etc. And they saw a plane that came into Atlanta, right? And noticing the manifest and knowing, that the plane had just left from there, that is how they managed to track them down. I don't think there's pretty much anybody who flies that cannot be, monitored in such a way unless they're, flying for a government or something like that. But yeah, so that's how that's done. So likely it was a PAP photo, and they were probably waiting for that plane to come in. So, not a big deal. This is a more public time, a more public facing time for the Sussexes. In spite of that, as a matter of good taste, I thought it was better to just pixelate the photos, but is going a long way, in my opinion, to humanize them. I'm sure everybody has their own feelings about that, but I think it's taken some of the haste and the urgency out of getting the next photo. These are two people that are very successful. They're rich and they're doing what rich folks do. And I'm glad that they are doing what rich folks do. The things that they have done in terms of their philanthropy and humanitarian work has had so much outreach that I say something like, I don't know, I got to do, I'm going to send something to the World Central Kitchen. Would I have even heard of World Central Kitchen if it wasn't for Harry and Meghan? Would I have heard of that place in Dusseldorf if it wasn't for Harry and Meghan? I mean, I could list a few things that I would have never heard of. And because of Harry and Meghan, because of the attention that they've brought to these various agencies, they have been able to, reach their goals, exceed their expectations. So it's a win-win. Oh, Hartsfield has a ton of PAPs? Really? Okay. I mean, they say it's the world's busiest airport. They always say Hartsfield gets the most people and O'Hara gets the most flights. So let that sink in. I don't know how that works, but whatever the case is, yeah, those are two very busy airports. But yeah, that's probably how that happened. Is they were looking at those manifests or flight planners or whatever, and going on that hunch, they just figured out, oh, that's where we need to be. Hey, Lydia, thank you for joining us. So anyway, that is likely a real photo of Harry and Meghan in the Caribbean, in my opinion. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So, good. Oh, sorry, went the wrong way. There you go. Nope, not that one either. I'm on the wrong set of slides. All right, so Monte Cristo says there's a lot of things I wouldn't know if it was not for Royal Sussex. Oh, okay, that didn't go where I thought it was going to go, but thank you. I thought you were going to say the Sussexes, but yeah, thank you. Thank you. A little embarrassed, but thank you. Absolutely, Lydia. Absolutely. Okay, so, and here's the last one. You can see Harry, light-skinned Harry and bruh man with the backpack there. As you can see, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, they actually came out to greet the plane to take the Sussexes to, do their passport or to stamp their passports or whatever, and then on to Montecito, I'm assuming. Who knows? They may go someplace else. But how cool is that? That they actually come out there to meet the plane, and you can see on the left side, Harry is hopping into the vehicle so they can go and Meghan and Harry, they're hopping in the vehicle. So didn't know they had that type of service, but nothing but the best for Harry and Meghan. That's my philosophy. Nothing but the best for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Sorry, I'm a fan. Wait, sorry, not sorry. But yeah, I'm glad to see this. So anyway, the photos came out kind of late today. They're going to be all over the place tomorrow, I'm sure. So you'll see them on social media here, there, and everywhere. So if you want to see the unpixelated version of them, again, I'm so iffy about the PAP photos, but I almost didn't share them at all. But I'm like, this is a different time for the Sussexes, so it's a different time. I'm for one, I'm glad for it. I hope it serves them well. I can't promise you that any of this is not without risk, because we know how the Sussexes have been, tormented in the past. But let's hope for the best. Let's be positive, hope for the best. 2023 is shaping up to define the future for the Sussexes, right? They're taking a big step. I mean, let's take a look at this again from yesterday. Wait, this one is, there we go. You got all of these things plus other stuff that happened in 2023. You can see some familiar scenes or situations. And, um, now whatever changed, they are being more public. And I think that I have to believe that it's going to go a long way to humanize them, to take away that mystique, right? Save the mystique for the royal family. Let them be the mysterious people. But as Queen Elizabeth used to say, or at least they said she said it, I must be seen to be believed. And that is the point. So, Special K, if you're watching, when you're watching, if you guys want to go back and tell her I said so, she did say, she said it, that it was probably a good idea. And so far, it seems like she's been right. So, it'll take away some of the profit from snapping photos. So, yeah. And I'm only saying this to alleviate some of your fears, because I know that, not everybody's buying that it's a good idea, but let's see how it works out. Um, they obviously have a plan. So, oh, there we go. So I got a sound bite. I got a few sound bites tonight. Let me do this one. You know, I like the BBC. I really do. The BBC has exposed me to the world in a way that very few news organizations have. The BBC, 60 Minutes, the American version of 60 Minutes, not the one from Australia. Let me see. 2020 is okay. PBS, the public broadcasting here in the U.S., the public television, they've done a great job of showing us the world. So yes, BBC is a propaganda wing of the royal household. It's true. But there has been some stories not having to do with the royal family, not having to do with politics, where I have seen a window into faraway places. They do a good job of that. They do a good job of that. They have a lot of people. Um, but nowadays, I'm more like Al Jazeera, CNN. They've kind of gone into the toilet, so I don't trust them so much. But and then some of the YouTube, like the AJ News, um, Vox, Vox. There's a lot of like independent news out there that is great. They take on some really interesting stories, and again, not always about politics. So, if you don't follow some of those online news services, uh, you're missing something. If you're still depending on legacy television like BBC, you're missing something. All right, so let me do this.
Here in the UK, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak visited, a Jewish school in London to underline his support for the community. The visit followed several demonstrations across Britain, during which people voiced their backing for Hamas, which many countries, including the UK and US, consider a terrorist organization.
Let me do that one more time. You've heard it exactly. Okay, one more time.
Here in the UK, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak visited, a Jewish school in London to underline his support for the community. The visit followed several demonstrations across Britain, during which people voiced their backing for Hamas, which many countries, including the UK and US, consider a terrorist organization.
So there's so much wrong with what she just said. This implies that the people that took to the streets that are protesting because they're trying to avoid the next great genocide. They're protesting because they're trying to support what is it? Over 2 million people, from a very ancient country that has no voice. So many governments have turned their backs on the Palestinians. So many corporations, so many people, so many world leaders have turned their backs on the Palestinians. And from what I've read, most millennials, most younger people, the majority of them support the plight of the Palestinians. They support their independence. They support their sovereignty. And so to show you that the legacy media far too often is on the wrong side of history. I want you to hear, and one of the British, is he a reporter? Anyway, I forgot his name, but he's of African descent. He tweeted this, and he said, "Let me see. Wait a minute. Do I have his name here? Oh yeah, Michael Morgan. Michael Morgan said, WTAF. Was that dubbed? It sounded so awful that he assumed that it had to have been dubbed. He didn't believe that she actually said that out of her mouth, that the people protesting were supporting Hamas. She just couldn't, and did you notice that she coughed when she said it? Like it was stuck in her throat and she couldn't get it out? Realizing that what she was saying was so grossly inaccurate and unfair. Most of the people that are demonstrating for peace. They're certainly not trying to uplift and uphold Hamas. That's not what the point was. Is for the safety of the 2.5 million people that are dying every day. That's who they're marching about. It's not about governments. It's not about a terrorist organization. It's about these civilians that are dying one by one. Sometimes a whole building is coming down on them. They tell them this is the safe way out of town, and they get killed right there on the spot. That is who they're marching for. So let's see. Someone here said 24 and DW. That's the Germany, that news, and also the France 24. I agree. I love those two. As a matter of fact, I have them on my what do you call it? My list, list of channels. I do have those saved there. So yeah, those are some good news organizations. And again, you guys, as I said, yes, there's a lot of things the BBC gets wrong, but they still have picked up stories, have told stories that have nothing to do with Downing Street and nothing to do with the royal family. So they have that. They have that. I'm not going to dismiss one because of the other. They do have that. So those kind of stories are worth watching. I've seen some stuff I didn't know exist and probably would have never known if I just didn't catch it on the BBC. But in spite of that, they messed up really bad. So then later on, this was reported, or should I say, this was, let me see, the person who tweeted this said, "Words can kill. Glad that the BBC is being responsible. Sickened by some of the reporting in the UK." That is what this other person said. His name is Hussam Zamlat. He said he is sickened by some of the reporting in the UK. So this is what they said later on after they, made that horrible error. They came back 2 hours later with this.
We accept that this was poorly phrased and was a misleading description of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Now, here's the weather. Now, before we go, earlier on BBC News, we reported on some of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations at the weekend. We spoke about several demonstrations across Britain during which people voiced their backing for Hamas. We accept that this was poorly phrased and was a misleading description of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations.
One more time.
Now, here's the weather. Now, before we go, earlier on BBC News, we reported on some of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations at the weekend. We spoke about several demonstrations across Britain during which people voiced their backing for Hamas. We accept that this was poorly phrased and was a misleading description of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations.
So this is the lady that they rolled out to clean it up. This is the one who literally choked on her words when she said it the first time. And then later on, I think it was 2 hours later, she comes out to clean it up. That was nothing more than propaganda the first time around. Yeah, they had to walk it back because so many people were sounding the alarm at how awful that was that they said it in the first place. Let's see. Wanda MV, thank you so much for the super sticker. Baron, thank you for covering this issue boldly and calling out the inaccurate coverage. This is a humanitarian crisis for the Palestinians. Amen to that. Wanda, I saw a photo that I cannot get out of my mind. It did not upset me in the moment, but all I can say is just be very careful as you watch some of this coverage on the social media, because I'm pretty sure the one that I saw was posted and then taken down, but I can't unsee it. It was a child. It was a child that obviously had a horrendous life-ending wound. I'll just say that, and that's just one of many. So it kind of sickens me to think about it. And then you have, this person choking on her words. You heard her say in the middle of it, because it was propaganda. It was gaslighting. It was a big lie. So and in the full light of day that these so-called world leaders are emboldened to do the things that they're doing and say the things that they say, as though nobody's watching, just goes to show you the hubris that it takes to be in those positions. I hate to think that one day we'll look at that map and there won't be a Palestine. And I can't help but think that that is the intention. And if I, as a layperson, can figure that out, then I'm pretty sure that the people who need to know or should know better have figured it out. I don't fancy myself as being some type of like scholar or some type of prophet or something like that. But I'll tell you, the first time I went to Washington, D.C., I was shocked at the areas that we were flying through. And I thought to myself at that time, wow, they must really trust these pilots. They must know who's flying these planes. That was my thought. I mean, I could still remember looking out the window, there's the Jefferson Memorial. There's a Washington Mine. And I'm thinking to myself, they must really know these people. I guess they have done their, backgrounds and everything. Seems weird that we can be in this airspace. That's the first thought I had. And that was years before 9/11. Okay? That's why I say the people who need to know or should know better, trust me, they do. But it's only because they expect the public to look the other way, only because they expect the public to be fickle and forget about it and ignore it, that they are so emboldened to do it, because they figure, well, everybody's got a big screen television. They won't worry about this stuff. Well, they were wrong this time. The world is watching. The world is paying attention. And as Petal was saying earlier, there's a lot of people that are walking back their initial reaction because of the pressure that's being put on these, on this person. Because of that pressure, they had to come out later and walk it back. I don't want them to walk it back. Get it right the first time. They're not your children, but they're children. Half of that population is children. So that's half of the 2.4 million. Let's say that 1.2 million, they're children. They're not numbers, they're children. I saw this one television screen, someone highlighted on one side of the screen, it says that these people were killed. On the other side of the screen, they recorded the other people as deaths. Who do you think the deaths were? Who do you think the deaths were? Who do you think was disassociated from the fact that they died deliberately at the hands of another? Right? They dismissed it by calling it deaths. So the people in Israel, they were killed. The people in Palestine, it was just a death. Like they dropped dead of a heart attack walking down the street. Like they slipped and fell. That's how they recorded it. Not a building fell on them. They slipped and fell. So, such hypocrisy, such gaslighting. Words do matter. They really do matter. Okay, so I think I'm done with that one for now. Yeah, okay. So let's move on to here. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. Oh, here we go. Yesterday, King Charles was bragging about slimming down the monarchy as a justification to ban his younger son and his family forever. We do not forget, said one of the squatties. And as you can see, they posted this image and headline, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's eviction from UK home is just the start of King Charles' slim down plan. According to the new report, King Charles plans to eradicate subsidized rent for royals and cut staff. Now, I don't have the date for this article, and I do apologize for that because I usually like to include the date for reference, but date or no date, the point is, we know that that's exactly what was said. Charles has been beating that drum about the slim down monarchy for years. Princess Anne seems to think that it's the wrong move and that it really should go the other direction. And I'm going to say something that'll surprise you. I agree with Princess Anne. It is the wrong move. They probably should go the other direction. I'm pretty sure that there's not a courtier listening to me right now that's going to run to Charles III and say, you know what? That channel, the one where they keep making fun of your mama, 1992, a year that I shan't look back upon with undiluted pleasure. That channel. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to go and tell him, "Oh, Your Majesty, that Baron, the one that keeps saying 1992." He thinks that the slim down monarchy is a bad idea. I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. But even if it did, so what? It is a bad idea. And, you know, if you're going to take 350 million pounds a year from the public, then you might as well earn it. You know what I'm saying? Give them value for money. I mean, it's not like they're going to cut off the money. So if that's the case, then give them the value for money. Let them go out there and do some work. I'm all for it. It's not going to be Harry and Meghan, of course, but let them go out there and do some work. It's hard to know what's at play with all of this back and forth about Harry and Meghan and olive branches and all that kind of stuff. It really is hard to know what's at play. I'm sure that, like most Swatties, you all don't ever anticipate, or do you want to see Harry and Meghan go back to that den of vipers, because they made it very clear on when the Queen died exactly how petty and malicious they could be. So that being the case, they should never go back to that. Harry's home is in the U.S. And that's just the way it is. Let me see here. I believe this article is from March the 24th, 2023. I think that's where it comes from. March the 24th, 2023. Yeah, People Magazine. I believe that's where it originates from. So, whatever the case may be, don't expect them to go back. But they have been, you know, beating this drum about Charles, that is, about the slim down monarchy. And as you can see, what I assume is a photo of Prince William. I think that's Prince William. Yeah, I assume that that's Prince William at some function or another. I'm just kidding. That's, of course, the Duke of Kent, the Queen's cousin. One of the last of that generation, the Duke of Kent, that is Prince Michael of Kent's older brother, who took the title because, what was it? The one that died in the plane crash, the good looking one? I think because he died. So, oh, really? I did not hear that. Wow, I did not hear that. Yeah, you know, they're going to keep doing stuff like that in order to silence people. They take the term Black Lives Matter, which for a lot of people, Black Lives Matter is a movement. It's not an organization, it's a movement. There was a movement that eventually someone decided to take the name and make it an organization. And that is unfortunate because it actually taints the protest. It taints the efforts of the people. And they have, you know, I hate that people associate one with the other. You know what I'm saying? It was a movement. It was a phrase before it was an organization. And that's really unfortunate. So that organization, unfortunately, whatever they do, they try to attach it to the people that just come out to protest, the people who use the phrase Black Lives Matter. If you say it, then they assume that you are for that organization. that they assume that you donated money to that organization when that may not be the case. That's why I hate that they mix one with the other, but they do that deliberately to discourage people from protesting in the first place, for sounding off about things in the first place. That's why they do that, is so that they could try to shame you out of stepping up. Unfortunate, but yeah, I'm not surprised by that, but that's the only card they have to play at this point. So there you have the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They have stepped away from official royal duty. Charles and William, Charles in charge, William bringing up the rear. It has been said that there seems to be friction between the two royal households. I'm assuming that we're still calling them Clarence House and Kensington Palace, or is it Buckingham Palace and okay, maybe Buckingham Palace is when it's the both of them, and then separately is Clarence House and Kensington Palace. Whatever the case may be, father and son appears not to see eye to eye. They're cordial in public. They don't do a lot of engagements together. I mean, when you compare how many times that Charles has been in tow with the Queen compared to William, pretty much, am I wrong about that? But I don't see him with his father that often. You know, I don't see him with his father that often. Not as often as Charles would have been seen with the Queen. So, hey, doesn't it always come back to this? Doesn't it always come back to this, Tashmac? By the way, did I forget a bell earlier? If I did, there's the bell. Yeah, but it always seems to come back to that, so I'm not surprised. Okay, so maybe they're at war. Maybe they're just having friction. Maybe they're not really talking to each other. William seems to be acting capriciously and independent of Charles. And as you know, that seems to get him in trouble. If I was him, I would listen to my father, but he probably never solicited his father for help. He has brought in people like, what's his name, Simon Case, who, didn't he work for the government? And then he went and worked for William, and then he went back to the cabinet or whatever. And there's some controversy about him right now, and I forget what it is, but this is the slimmed down monarchy. It's so weird because you see that hollow balcony, hollow. This was Trooping the Colors, right? And if you look in the distance, look at the lower part of the photo. I never knew that there was an intercourt. Well, yeah, there's a little courtyard there, obviously. The front of Buckingham Palace is not original to the building. It's a yellow stone, a bath stone, I believe, used for the rest of the palace back in the days when it was called Buckingham House. And in the front, you can see this Portland white stone. This stone has a unique property in that it actually is self-cleaning, if you could believe that. I know it looks filthy, but it washes away a lot of the soot, a lot of the pollution. Not 100%, but it's kind of self-cleaning, kind of like chalk, like the white cliffs of Dover. They always look clean. They always look white. Well, Portland white stone, it has that same kind of property to it. Kind of porous, not a great stone, but not the sturdiest, but nothing beats granite, I think. However, that is not original to the house. What you see in the back, that's original, in the courtyard. And so I think it's so stupid that they got them watching the planes fly over from back there. I mean, if they're family, why aren't they on the balcony? I mean, this just doesn't make any sense, but Charles is in charge. He's been saying this for years. And you know what? It's not a bad idea. Slim down the monarchy. It is bloated and expensive. But the thing is, he has fewer working royals but they're taking in more money. How does that make sense? You have a portfolio of what, 12 properties that he lives in between 12 properties, and he's taking in 350 million pounds. They just got a raise. Now they say it's 100 million right now, but according to Republic, it's more like 350 million pounds if you include the cost of security, amongst other things. They hide a lot of the costs with security. I'll just say that. When you have all of those people in the military out there doing these parades and such, that's part of the expense. They're only there because of the royal family. So that's part of the expense. That's the 350 million pounds. So if you're going to spend that much money, at least give the people value for their money. But no, they hide them in the back. Like they're evil stepchildren or something. They hide them in the back. So, and so I guess the tabloids are wanting desperately somehow to get the Sussexes back on that balcony because they're starving. Do you hear me? They're starving. Those people in the tabloid media don't have enough to talk about. And you know what? Thanks to the Sussex squad, and even thanks to people that are not in the Sussex squad, a lot of them have been driven off of American television. They were hoping that they could keep this good versus evil narrative going, them versus they, the Coke versus Pepsi. They were hoping to keep that going for years, but it has kind of petered out, hasn't it? You don't have as many of them as often on American television. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is, and I've heard this come from some of the royal rodents. Well, actually, it was someone speaking to a royal rodent, but he was like some, someone who should know. They have, and I've said this too, after the Queen's funeral, after the coronation, they have nothing for at least 10 years. You're not going to get this big outpouring of affection when Camilla goes to her glory. Either Charles goes, right, or we wait for the Cambridge kids to marry. Other than that, they have nothing. There's not going to be an international press because of Trooping the Colors. There's not going to be an international press for, you know what? When Charles opens Parliament in November, there's going to be enough media there, and it's going to be embarrassing. Because remember last time, people were just like, why does the Crown get one of the state Bentleys? Why are they spending all of this money for the opening of Parliament? They were trying to do this big pomp and pageantry event to open Parliament, and it backfired in the most epic way because people were asking the question, why are they spending? And it wasn't even that many people there to watch. There weren't that many people there. Tourist season is over. So having Trooping the Colors in November, you're not going to have people from all over the world flooding London to see them drive the crown from here to there. Charles is not so loved and popular, but you know who's going to be there, don't you? You know who's going to be there. I'm going to show you who's going to be there. They may outnumber the well-wishers. That's right. Republic is recruiting people to come out and protest. Their numbers have doubled since the coronation, since they were unethically, I won't say unlawfully, but unethically arrested. They did change the law to make it possible, so I can't say unlawful, but they're going to be there. So that is going to be quite a sight. I'm pretty sure that they'll probably do something to try to suppress them and prevent them from showing up in numbers. But They're going to be there, and it is going to be an embarrassment. The royal family is doing a lot of these like helicopter events where they fly in and fly out before they can form a protest, right? The diaries are not posted until the last minute so that they don't form a protest. But something like the, what do you call it? The Troop and the Colors, those things that are scheduled far in advance, there's going to be an increasing presence of people protesting the monarchy. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You know, for those who are monarchists that love the royal family, I hope everything is everything that they want it to be. I hope everything goes their way. I'm glad they had the coronation. I'm glad that they have their royal family. The only thing I could say is leave Harry and Meghan alone. Leave Harry and Meghan alone. I wouldn't be talking about them right now. I wouldn't even be talking about them right now. But they keep messing with Harry and Meghan, the co-conspirators. So it's hard for me to wish them well when I see them going after the two people that are the most popular, the most influential, in spite of everything that has been said and done from the people on that balcony. The Sussexes continue to thrive, and there's nothing they can do about it. They can try. They can try to slow them down. They could try to coerce people into not talking to them and not working with them. But the more time that goes by, the less people care about the people on that balcony. The only thing that gives them any type of screen time is the fact that they keep pushing against the Sussexes. They keep trying to hold them back. They want to tether themselves to the Sussex success. That's the only thing that gives them the most minute relevancy. That's it. Associate themselves with the Sussexes. Make everything they do about Harry and Meghan. And then, of course, people might look their way. So this is Britain today. This is the United Kingdom. You have Northern Ireland. Increasingly, there's this movement to unite all of Ireland. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. As a lot of those older people, as a lot of those monarchists die off, there's going to be a unified Northern Ireland. And Wales. Wales is going to be the last to go because they tend to carry most of the goodwill for England, right? And then Scotland. You have that, what's his name? Youssef, whatever his name is, the new, not prime minister. Oh gosh, they don't call him first minister, right? The new first minister. He's for separation. He doesn't think they want to go back to the European Union. They want to get away from Parliament, 10 Downing Street, all that. They want to get away from Whitehall, and they want to rejoin the European Union. That was the best bet. They will get a better deal as part of the European Union, as opposed to staying with the UK. It's not that cut and dry. Even if they do manage to vote to leave that union, it doesn't mean that they automatically go to the European Union. They have some hurdles that they have to jump before they can do that. But eventually they will. They will. There's a lot of hardworking people in Scotland. I think their GDP has to be at a certain level. I think that's the only thing that would hold them back. And I'm sure that they exceed whatever that amount is, but it is based on your GDP. They're not going to take on someone that's going to be a financial burden, at least not in the beginning. Now, if later on you have a problem financially, they'll help you work it out, but not in the beginning. So if their GDP is good, they're as good as in. And do remember, Scotland, the majority of people in Scotland voted to stay in the European Union. The majority of people in the metropolitan London area voted to remain. But is everybody outside of London, well, not everybody, but the majority of people outside of London, they voted to leave the Union. So that's the big difference. And take a look at a couple of your comments here. Lola Love says, that's right, Baron. People are getting tired of the dysfunctional, archaic monarchy. The thrill has gone and left when Lizzie died. Yep. The thrill is gone, baby. The thrill has gone away. Ain't nothing wrong. The thrill is gone. One of my favorite B.B. King songs. The thrill is gone. That one, and of course, You Made a Move Too Soon. 3 weeks of snow. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Love me some B.B. King. I love blues, though. I love the blues music. Okay. Yeah, Alicia, the only thing that revived that family was that breath of fresh air, Rachel Meghan Markle. And they showed their appreciation to her the same way they showed their appreciation to Diana. And that was by doing everything that they could to drive her away. So they drove Diana out of the family. They drove Meghan out of the family. And what they have left is that very gothic looking scene that we saw on the balcony just a few minutes ago. Yeah, that's what they have left. That's what they have left. You know, and I'm sure the Queen had her thoughts about it, but you know, at the same time, the Queen realized that it won't be her fight. That the next generation will have to do that, and the one after that. So I feel like, Harry, it is a great platform. It is a huge platform, and there's so much good that they could do. They're not going to do it, but it has potential, right? It has potential. If they ever use their soft power to try to feed people, to clothe people, to house people, if they ever used it for that instead of using it for photo ops and to help people launder money to give out cash for honors and such, it would be a great institution. They could turn that around. It could really be a force for good. But in this information age, doing the very least is not possible. At least, or should I say, it won't go unnoticed. That's what I'm trying to say. Doing the least will not go unnoticed. So they're wasting the platform. They're wasting their power. If you've never seen this, I thought I would throw this in here. Geriatric, Carlene Beckford, you went there. All the countries that regained independence from criminal colonizer, genocide causer, Westminster government, and monarchy. Now, that, of course, is not from a textbook. That was a quote from a squatty that was spilling something at the moment. You know how sometimes people in the Sussex squad get caught up in their feelings and anything is liable to come out? Well, that came out. So you could see all of the countries, the sun never set on the British Empire. Well, now the sun, oh gosh, if it's the wintertime, there's about, what, a couple of hours of sunlight and it's over with. But back in those days, the sun never set on the British Empire. but at one time it was the center of the universe as far as the world was concerned. The known world, um, the all of the power, all of the wealth that was extracted from all of these countries. And there's no regret about it. They celebrate the fact that they were able to dominate the world. They celebrate that. But like any great empire, of course, at some point it was bound to fall. And it has been reduced to just a collection of islands. And in order to try to save face, they've come up with this commonwealth thing, which doesn't really make sense because there's no commonwealth, and you most of the people cannot even go to the UK with their passports because they're not allowed. They have to get a special visa. They have to have a good excuse. You have to prove that you have a reason to go back home. I, as an American, I can just go back and forth as often as I like. But people that's within the so-called Commonwealth, they have to come up with a compelling story, or they have to be the right complexion to just show up. You know, if you're from Australia, you can just show up. New Zealand, just show up. Canada, you just show up. But any of the other places, nah, you better make an appointment. Yeah. You better make an appointment. Yeah. And how much do you have in your bank account? Yeah, you better make an appointment. You want to see the treasures that were looted from your homeland? Better make an appointment. So if it wasn't for his accident of birth, Charles III might be a hobo living on the streets of London, a vagabond, a homeless person on the streets of London. Sausage fingers and all. Could you imagine those sausage fingers uh, pawing through the trash heap looking for something to eat, looking for cigarette butts, buying Lucy's? Could you imagine that? Him out there on the streets of London trying to forage for dinner? Or or maybe he would be a blues guitarist. Yeah, maybe he might get lucky as a unknown anonymous person and get a career playing the blues, singing the blues. I mean, could you imagine that? Charles Mountbatten-Windsor, the blues guitarist, Charlie Windsor. Yeah, Charlie Windsor. I could imagine that. Yeah, he'd probably say, let me see, what would Charles sing? Oh, if I had a pound and you had a dime. Oh, I wonder if I could borrow yours as easily as you could mine. He'd probably name his guitar Camilla. Yeah, he'd probably name his guitar Camilla. Three and six is nine. 9 and 12 is something else. Oh, I would love to see Charles singing the blues. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I ain't got no fancy to tickle. Ain't got no bounce in my shoes, Camilla. Yeah, I could see that. Anyway, or maybe he could run off with the circus. I mean, he's got the ears for it. He's got the hands. He got the feet. He could easily run off with the circus. So it's not as though he doesn't have options. He could run off with the circus. But where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Send in the clowns. No, not you, Camilla. The clowns, the real clowns. Send in the clowns, Camilla. Uh, uh, okay. Anyway, enough fun. And by the way, the Buckingham Palace that you see in the background, that's more like it would have appeared originally. Oh no, actually, no, not the original Buckingham Palace, but when they first put that white facade, that white stone facade, they used to have statue. Yeah, they had like statues at the top. They had all those figurines at the top. So I have another sound bite for you. I have another sound bite. That, of course, is Tom Bradby. Now, I missed this one, but Tom Bradby is one of the more credible reporters, right? Yes, I know he gave Harry a hard time with the Spare interview, but he kind of had to do that. Otherwise, he would have lost credibility. So I'm not mad at him.
No one in the palace was told about this in advance, this announcement. Is that accurate or not in your view?
Well, it's certainly not true to say the palace were blindsided by it. Certainly the couple's views, they came back, they wanted to talk to the family about their plans. You know, it had been made clear to them in their absence that there was going to be a slimmed down monarchy and they weren't really a part of it. They were asked by officials and the rest of the family to put thoughts down on paper. They said, look, it leaks if we do that. We don't want to do that. They did it. It was immediately leaked to the Sun. So they thought, you know, hang it, we're going to have our, you know, statement anyway. So, you know, I really take that. I mean, to say I take that with a pinch of salt would be the understatement of the century.
One more time.
The narrative is that no one in the palace was told about this in advance, this announcement. Is that accurate or not in your view?
Well, it's certainly not true to say the palace were blindsided by it. Certainly the couple's views, they came back, they wanted to talk to the family about their plans. You know, it had been made clear to them in their absence that there was going to be a slimmed down monarchy and they weren't really a part of it. They were asked by officials and the rest of the family to put thoughts down on paper. They said, look, it leaks if we do that. We don't want to do that. They did it. It was immediately leaked to the Sun. So they thought, you know, hang it, we're going to have our, you know, statement anyway. So, you know, I really take that. I mean, to say I take that with a pinch of salt would be the understatement of the century.
Well, there you have it. The calls are coming from inside the house.
The narrative is that no one in the palace was...
Sorry about that. The calls are coming from inside the house. Tom Bradby, who I trust, said that when they came back from Africa, if you recall, that was when he asked Meghan how she was doing. And Meghan said, thank you, nobody else has asked me. Meghan was on the verge of tears. This was after that incident with Archie at the wherever they were staying. So Tom Bradby said that they were told, write some things down on paper. They said, no, we don't want to do that because it's going to get leaked. They were encouraged to do it anyway. And what happened? Dan Wooten made that threat that either you tell it or I'll do it. You got 10 days. A senior royal, two senior royals at that, Harry and Meghan, were threatened by a member of the media or they were going to be exposed, which makes so much sense out of what Dan Wooten said. It's much easier for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racism rather than address the fact that the negativity toward them are coming from within the royal family. The negativity is coming from within the royal family, right? He said that. Tom Bradby said it wasn't long before they leaked the information, and that's exactly what happened. And what happens? William eventually, because Because Tom Bradby asked Meghan how she was doing, William had a fit. He made a public announcement that he was no longer friends with Tom Bradby. How childish is that? You publicly assert, not assert, but you clearly put out a statement. You are no longer friends with Tom Bradby. The problem is Tom Bradby was a friend of Prince Harry, is a friend of Prince Harry as far as I know. And because Tom Bradby went on that tour of Africa with them, and Will and Kate, if I recall, they were in Pakistan. And what was supposed to be just a little interview and, him tagging along for a news piece turned into something far greater. It had an impact. And so you could see that the Sussexes were in terrible distress. And by Tom Bradby illuminating the fact that they were in distress, that was enough to trigger William into self-destruct mode. I'm no longer friends with Tom Bradby. Very childish. Very, very childish. He could have just said nothing and never spoke to Tom Bradby again. But he wanted to say it publicly. And I can't help but think that that was like some mafioso kiss on the cheek to let the world know it is time for his career to be over. It's time for him to retire. It should be more difficult for him to find work, allegedly. In my opinion, allegedly, one could only assume. It seems as though William was trying to wreck his career for being a friend to Prince Harry. Now, right here, there is Tom Bradby with, I guess, his wife going to the Cambridge wedding. And then on the right side, there is Tom Bradby with, I guess, his wife going to the Sussex wedding. Well, you can tell which is which because the Cambridge wedding, that is likely the Westminster Abbey in the background. And the yellow stone that you see there, that is St. George's Chapel in the background. So, yeah. So he was, I guess, shunned by William for being kind to Harry and Meghan. Very childish. Very, very petty, childish behavior. Capricious, I would say. One could only assume. There's plenty evidence to say that Kensington Palace was the main place where all of the leaks were coming from, to a greater extent. To a lesser extent, Clarence House. Clarence House was the OG, the original leaking machine. And then, of course, when William got so desperately jealous of Harry, that's when they took the baton from Clarence House and ran with it. So they leak against each other. They both were leaking against the Sussexes. And as Harry said, they didn't say anything for a year after leaving official royal duty. And yet, for that whole year, the leaking and the briefing persisted. And it just goes to show, too, the same way Tom Bradby says that they were asked to put things on paper, in writing. And of course, they didn't want to do it because that's how the leaking starts. Well, eventually they did. And what happens? Dan Wooten. Dan Wooten, who just so happens to have gone to school with Jason Knopf, who was the communication person for Kensington Palace and for the Sussexes. someone who managed to weasel his way out of Texas to New Zealand and then on to the United Kingdom. That's a lot of weaseling for someone from a little town in Texas. That's a highly ambitious person that you have gone from Texas all the way to New Zealand, and you end up working essentially for the government and all these big international banks. I forget which bank he worked at, but he's had access, especially for a person his age, he's had access to power in a way that a lot of people could only dream of. And he just so happens to have gone to school with Dan Wooten. There's no official account of them knowing each other. They just went to school at the same time in the same place. Dan Wooten is from New Zealand. And then, of course, Dan Wooten has gone from being the show business gossip reporter to a royal insider, while Jason Knopf was working for William. Because you see, it doesn't matter who worked for the Sussexes, as long as they were a combined household at Kensington Palace. Who do you think they're going to answer to first? Harry or William? One of the reasons why there was so much apathy, why there was so much pain and suffering and sadness and so many hurt feelings, is because they were pitting one household against the other. So they're under the name of Kensington Palace, but they're two different royal households. And so anything that the Sussexes wanted to do, any desire they had to use their platform for the good, for the greater good, they would have to share that information with the rest of the household, the other side of the household. And the reason why that's a problem is because on the other side of the household, you have petty, jealous, insecure William and Kate. And if there's anything that was going to make them look less than, it was bad enough for them that there was this big uptick of popularity for Harry and Meghan. But that coupled with the idea that William and Kate don't like to work. You would think if they don't like to work, then just stand back and let the adults do things. No, they wanted to make sure that they always came out on top. That was William's prerogative as the future Prince of Wales. That was Kate's prerogative as the future Princess of Wales, that they would always get the best cuts of meat. They would get the best seat. They would get the nicest room, the nicest house. Whatever was the best, they were entitled to it because of their position in the pecking order. It doesn't matter that Harry and Meghan's popularity would have been good for everybody. That didn't matter, because it's inevitable that the Cambridges were going to go on to become the Prince and Princess of Wales. So they didn't have to play nice. They didn't have to cooperate. They didn't have to compromise or give, because whether they do the right thing or the wrong thing, everything is going to go their way anyhow. There's always going to be someone there to tell them how great and important they are, not because of what they've done, but by an accident of birth, or in Kate's place, because of the fact that she married that person in the family instead of someone else. Everything would go her way. She doesn't have to be smart. She doesn't have to show up prepared to work. She don't have to do anything. She could do something or nothing, and everything is going to go her way. That's the way the system is designed, is that you cannot overshadow the principles. So that's why they felt entitled to try and crush the Sussexes. And it's not limited to them trying to embarrass you or plotting against you. It's not limited to that. I'm afraid that is literally is a life and death thing for them, if that's what it takes. They've already proven that. So, oh God, I wonder what is going on with Charles's lips. Have you ever noticed his lips looks like he just ate a what is it, a cranberry or something? A pomegranate, like he just ate a pomegranate. God, it looks bad. Anyway, yeah, so that's that. Charles is going to side with William whether or not they're getting along. He's always going to side with William. William is going to do as he pleases because he can. And now that he has $1 billion duchy, he's really a loose cannon. He can do whatever he wants to do. So Harry is like, okay, well, enjoy. I'm off to the US. But it's not enough because they still need Harry and Meghan to help bolster their image. That is the same way with the Queen and Margaret. Margaret had to be the opposite. The Queen had to appear as though she was helping Margaret limp across the finish line, right? Margaret would left to her own devices, could not do anything. That is the narrative that comes from the monarchy, that comes from the firm, is that the heir and the spare is always up to the heir to almost be like a parent, a guardian to the spare. No matter how capable or how talented, the appearance has to demonstrate that Harry is incompetent, right? That Harry needs William, even though Harry has proven quietly, and this is such a ninja move. Harry has built all of these connections and associations over the years. And right now, it is paying off big time. He has so much credit. I listened to some of those derangers say, who is he or who are they to talk about mental health and wellness and well-being? Hello, did you not see the Me You Can't Be? Have you not listened to Harry's book or read his book? Have you not followed him into any of these spaces where Harry has proven time and time again that he has a better handle on mental health and mental well-being than a lot of so-called professionals? He has a better handle on it than a lot of people. I would take my chances with him than I would some of these so-called professionals, because he knows his business. He's lived it. He's learned it. He's experienced it. He knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to grief. He understands grief. And one of the derangers had a photo of Harry. Oh, he looks so hollowed. He looks so hollowed. He's so broken. Meghan has broken him. Ignore the fact that these parents are talking about this horrendous loss. Ignore that. And just focus on Harry actually being empathetic to their plight. Ignore that. Harry, the new parent. Harry, the one who lost his mother tragically and mysteriously in a tunnel in Paris. Better to ignore what he's been through and dehumanize him as being a buffoon rather than to listen to him and perhaps learning something. Yeah, that makes sense, right? Instead of listening to him, dismiss him, try to make him the fool, and side with the person who is, by all accounts, the abuser. As he has said in his book, as he has said on television. He didn't say the words, my brother is an abuser. I'll say it. William is an abuser. Everything about his nature is arrogant and abusive. He's always been that person. Nothing has changed except the 9 iron. But nothing has changed. He's been consistently that person. Charles, indecisive, petty, mean-spirited, always that person. And then there's Harry, the soldier, the empathetic, the passionate, emotional. He's always been that person. Nothing has changed. Even on his worst days, he was a lot better than those other two. On his worst days. Whether he was drunk or high or whatever he was still a much better person than those two that have spent Harry's entire lifetime plotting against him. YM Droid says maybe Charles went to you think he had a little work done? You think he had a little work done? Well, there's that possibility, a little touch up here and there. Either that or he's been looking for love in all the wrong places. I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. Oh, thank you so much, YM Droid. Whatever it is, I'm sure there's a treatment for it. Okay, so I am going to shift gears here. And of course, and by the way, that's my words, not Harry. Harry didn't call his brother an abuser. I'm calling him that. I think he's a very abusive person. So in all but name. Yeah, Sussex Team Warrior. I saw that. He was a handful, and he's still a handful. And they, I'm not the one who said he's incandescent with rage. I'm not the one who said that. That comes from the tabloid media. And they won't discount that because they need to make him look big. They need to make him strong. They need to make him seem powerful, because otherwise, everybody knows William is weak as water. I mean, a scared dog is the ones that bark. Dogs don't bark because they're angry or whatever. They do that because they're afraid. They attack because of fear. Let's see. Absolute best read. I've been gripped. It's a moving, funny, eye-opening, breathtaking read. I have so many notes. My girls and I have made a book club just to discuss it. I've laughed and cried. Excellent writing and storytelling. So that, of course, is Jasmine Dadiwala. She has been on various panels where she has been defending the Sussexes over time. And I have a little sound bite I'm going to play for you. Actually, it's
on one side or family, a really polarizing subject that we either love to be on one side or the other of. And I think it's really unfair for us to make decisions about what they should be doing and whether they should be coming back. They're a family. If they want them to come back and they decide to spend time with their grandma, then they should do. And the idea that you're calling it could be a distraction and Prince Charles is worried. Well, the distraction proves that beside the Queen, Harry and Meghan are the most popular royals. And so basically,
Okay, so I think they're the most
you only need to look at
controversial.
today's front pages and the whole weekend to see that Harry and Meghan, if they can splash a picture of Harry and Meghan anywhere with a headline, they will do it. So I'm a producer and I have also worked for Netflix. So I will say this to you. We all say that Harry and Meghan want their privacy, but they want to be in the public eye. They just didn't want to be bullied, abused and harassed by the press. They didn't say that they were never going to come out again and do things on their own terms.
No, they are for privacy.
Shining a light on the Invictus Games, heroes and veterans who should have a light shone on them.
You cannot be a royal and get rich, and Prince Andrew's tried to do that, and it's disastrous. At least they've said we divorce the royal family and we'll get rich separately.
Are you really holding them to different standards than the rest of the royal family? Because we have a whole list that we could bring up of Fergie, Andrew and all the rest of them who have tried to use their royal connections to get meetings and business deals for people outside of this country with our government. That you're holding them to completely different standards.
Let's have some calls.
People love them. They're popular.
That's very interesting, yeah.
Well, she said it. She said it. She hit the nail on the head. People love them. They're popular. Now, this is not a new post. It, of course, came out around the time when the book came out. But it's the first time I've seen it. And I recall that I had that video that I had made. Now, obviously, the Queen was still alive when she said those incredibly informative words. January the 18th. Yeah, that's when she posted that, January the 18th. But it's still no less truer. You know, what she said a couple years ago, that's where the video comes from, a couple years ago, but she made this Twitter post in January. The words resonate today because it happens to be true. As she said, and as a lot of us in the Sussex squad have said, and even people that are just, you know, somewhere in between, not really for one or the other, but we all know that they lean heavily on Harry and Meghan just to make the story palatable, digestible, to bring interest to something that otherwise would pretty much be dead on arrival. They insert Harry and Meghan's name in it so that people will actually give it a second look. So, yeah, well done, well said, Jasmine. Thank you again. And of course, William's BBC lies ruined my mother's life. Well, again, William has it in for ITV's Bradby, right? William has it in for the BBC. And that was because the BBC had that thing about the brothers and he took exception to it. And the whole thing is, this is my theory, is that William, who allegedly signed the deal and officially took money from Rupert Murdoch and was it Rupert Murdoch or was it Lord Nappyhead? I think it was Lord Nappyhead, wasn't it? Well, either one of them, whoever he took the money from, he took that money and we don't know what was promised in exchange, but we do know this much. He has been on this bender about trying to get rid of the BBC. Not directly, of course, but by using his platform to speak out against a public institution like the BBC. I think that's being political, but that's just my opinion. But he used his platform to try to slap the BBC across the nostril to remind people that, you know, I'm the future sovereign and I don't like them. He tried to blame them for his mother's situation when we all know it took a village. And it didn't start with the BBC. It didn't end with the BBC. It was the tabloid media, you know, the people that gave him the check, the people who gave him $1 million $1 million plus pounds. Those are the people that probably wrote this speech, allegedly. That speech he gave was not written by him. It was by a tabloid media person, allegedly, who, on instruction, wrote that speech so that William could discredit and condemn the BBC, allegedly, so that they would lack credibility. You know, like when Trump calls the media a liar, it's so that nobody will believe them. So going after the BBC, what does it do? What does it do? What it does is it discredits one of the news agencies that most people still trust, not as much as they would have years ago, but they're still a trusted voice. In spite of everything that we've said, they're still more trusted than any of those tabloids. You can look at one of those charts, and the BBC is the most credible news source in the UK. And then it just drops off from there. And so these people that are fighting for an ever shrinking pie, remember, everybody's profits are going down. Everybody's viewership is going down. It's not what it used to be. And so if you were in the tabloid media, wouldn't you want to go after the giant BBC? Right? I'm just setting up a scenario. I don't know any of this to be true. I haven't seen evidence. This is just a hunch. So they use him and use Diana to discount or disparage or to somehow chip away at the BBC's dominance in the media, making more room for the trashy media. I mean, after all, they're into television now, right? They have shows dedicated to the Mail, the Sun, and all the rest of those papers. They have their position on the social media. So why not go after the BBC? It makes sense to me. So I'm just saying that seems like a workable plot. I don't know it to be true. I'm alleging that it's true, but that's the only thing that makes sense. And so give this idiot a speech to go in front of the camera and recite, blaming the BBC for his mother, blaming Martin Bashir, and ignore all of the tabloids that have paid money for photographs. Ignore all of them. Ignore all of the tabloids that have paid money to go after people, to target Princess Diana, to target the parents of a teenager and listen in on her phone, giving them false hope that she was still alive, even though she had been long since dead. Yeah, don't target them. Go after the BBC. That wasn't his idea. He's not that smart. Remember the 9-iron. And of course, a lesser known plot is that William also was trying to get the movie Alien banned. Now, I haven't figured that out yet, why he went after Alien, but I do believe that on his list of grievances was the movie Alien. If you can sort that out, please help me, because I don't know. I'm just, for some reason, this movie seems to disturb him. It seems to upset him. What is it about a sci-fi creature that is so triggering to you, sir? I have no idea. Is it the bad teeth? Is it the cranial mass? What is it? But there's something that upsets him. Judy Matasid says the only platform Will has is for pegging. He'll always make room for that. He'll always make room for that. So yeah, it seems as though he wants to get the movie Alien banned. So if you can sort that out for me, let me know. But for now, I'm still confused by that one. Now, Fury and Fear. Yeah, of course. But that's not what I'm talking about. Take a look on the left side there. We did all white, Kate. We did all white. Are they really doing that again? what is it about this Kate and white? We did all white Kate. That's almost as bad, but not as worse, as Duchess of Cambridge revisits her favorite white power suit. Y'all need to stop playing. Y'all need to stop playing. You go to the unveiling of the Windrush Monument, and not one, but several news organizations headline the article, Kate's White Power Suit. I ain't got nothing else to say about that. I'm going to move on. Except this. And this. And this. And this. Okay, so as I said, as far as I know, the opening of a parliament will be in November, and they are expecting protests. So I know I'm going to watch that one. Ooh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. And poor Kate, so embarrassed that her family is broke. The penniless princess. The penniless princess. Well, she's married to William, so, at least, she's got to have some kind of pocket money. But her parents are suddenly broke. How embarrassing for them. Now, I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that William actually took some of the money from his mother, Diana, and helped them get set up in a house somewhere. Is that true? Oh, thanks, Big Mama. Anything for you. Is that true? You mean to tell me that William had to subsidize the Middleton lifestyle? I wonder how they managed to coerce him into doing that. Now, just to recap, Village Vile message. Kate Middleton's parents become target of cruel poster campaign after collapse of family party business. Party Pieces, remember that? Party Pieces folded in the summer with 2.6 million pounds of debt. The creditors have been calling on the couple to pay outstanding sums out of their own pockets, right? So that's kind of embarrassing. And poor Kate, I guess she's so upset she just can't seem to put her eyebrows on straight. And yet another newsworthy incident involving the royal family and their immediate relatives, the parents of Kate Middleton, have been targeted with a rather cruel poster campaign. Well, we talked about that yesterday, of course. But one thing about it is, when it comes to those middle bums, I'm just as petty one day after the next. I'm always petty about them. So, I don't know what's going to happen. It seems like in order to, I guess, spare the family the humiliation, perhaps William or someone needs to come up with some money. They need to pay those people. And poor Carol, I feel for Carol. It looks like she ain't had a good night's sleep. All that plotting and scheming to get her daughter into that family, pulling her in and out of class, yanking her in and out of schools, having her run around yelling at the staff at the party pieces, and them taking turns humiliating people on staff, all of that. And she has had many a sleepless night. I look at her and I see a woman that's broken, a woman that's tired, not tired, tired. She's a mite tired. Judy Matasis says November 16th, final season of The Crown. I'm excited. Ooh, so you mean The Crown and the opening of Parliament is happening in the month of November? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Thank you, Judy. And yes, I want to see the end of The Crown too. You know, last season was disappointing, but you know, when I start a series, I like to finish it, which is why I'm having so much trouble getting into Suits, because I know I'm going to get stuck. So, but eventually I'll get there. But yeah, Poe Carroll, it's enough to drive a person to drink. Prince William is incredibly close to wife Duchess Kate's parents. I wonder if that was before or after he allegedly bought their house with the money that Diana left. But you know how it is. After a while, it's just like, not another penny. Nope, you won't get another nickel out of me. So, or is it 5 pence? And poor Carol. I mean, there are days when she almost seems like she's having a stroke. She's so upset and so distraught. Yeah, I feel for her because Mama's not sleeping. Either that or her and Kate are going to the same doctor, one or the other. Kate Middleton's mom, heartbreaking fear about daughter's future with William. Yeah, if I was running out of money, I'd be fearful too. If I was running out of money and suddenly my son-in-law is the future king and billionaire, well, actually, he's been a future king, but now he's a billionaire, I'd lose sleep too. I wouldn't sleep that well. I would have all those facial spasms and stuff. I mean, she is so panicked that she's literally going into spasms. You see that? Her face is all contorted and twisted up. She is literally having spasms in her face because of the anxiety about money. Well, if you built a business from scratch, allegedly, not Uncle Gary, but if you built a business from scratch, nothing to do with Uncle Gary, if you've done that once, you could do it again, right? So just start another business. I mean, James Middleton, he starts new businesses all the time. Remember the Nazi marshmallow thing? That was James Middleton. Who else in this world would have thought of running a marshmallow through a Xerox machine and creating custom logos? If that's not a pathway to financial independence, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. I mean, today a marshmallow, tomorrow a cookie, a cake, or something. It's not as though those things haven't been done before. Actually, they have. It's not as though those things have been done before, but you have to admit the marshmallow was quite original. Maybe somebody else probably did it first, but well, business savvy and the Middletons, well, that is something that doesn't exist anymore. Some people have been pretty skeptical about party pieces. Some people thought it may have been like a ruse for Uncle Gary, but whatever the case is, the money is gone. The money is gone. The thrill is gone. The money is gone. Pay the people their money. Pay the people their money. Oh, there goes that facial spasm again. I'm telling you. I wonder if she can blink. Oh, they wear the same clothes. You know, they share outfits, right? They wear the same clothes. They go to the same doctors. They're almost like twins. Both of them have horrible taste. I mean, there's been a couple of outfits where I thought, "Ooh, Carol, girl, you causing it." But then most times she looks a mess, just like her daughter. Kate the Fake can switch expressions in less than a second as soon as she sees a camera. Now, one of the squatties posted that earlier, and you know I agree. I've been saying that for a while. I mean, notice this. Kate and William, when they went to that event on the 10th, is so interesting that when they walked in, they had a face like thunder. I mean, they look like they lost their best friend or something like that. But as soon as the cameras were gone, everything changed. I mean, sorry, not when the cameras was gone, when they saw the cameras. Okay, let me show you. They walked in. Look at their faces when they walked in. He's looking down at the floor. She's wringing her hands in despair, and her face is like drooping. And then all of a sudden, she greets the mother. Where is it at? Keeping her promise, Kate wears earrings given to her by grieving mother. That is how she faced a mother that's in grief, with a big, stupid grin on her face. Mother whose daughter tragically, is gone. That's how Kate greeted her, with a bunch of smiling and facial tics and stuff. And this is the worst of it. And even people that are supporters of the royal family, the royalists, the people that are sympathetic with the family, the people who depend upon the royals for inspiration, for guidance, they are even saying, why is she doing that? Why the big animated movements, the Peds dispenser grin? I mean, her head flips back like a Peds dispenser. Why does she do that? What is wrong with her? It seems disrespectful to me because it's so condescending. It's so contrived. It doesn't seem like real human emotions. And why am I saying this? Why do I say this? Because for days I have been observing the social media and watching the derangers, if you want to call them that. They have been hypercritical of Harry and Meghan's appearance. Why does Harry look so sad, so hollow, so shallow, so broken? Why is Meghan playing to the cameras? That's the stuff they've been saying. But the thing is, the people who have gotten the most positive press, the people who have been lauded and celebrated ever since, has been Harry and Meghan, not Will and Kate, because what they're doing is performative. This is real life. These are deep down gut emotions that they were feeling. Meghan wasn't smiling the whole time. We know Meghan has a very pleasant demeanor. But as you can see there, she's in distress. She's distressed from the things she's hearing, because it's hard to take the idea of something happening to anybody's child and to see the parents there grieving. Well, that seems to be the natural reaction. Not this. But they don't say anything about that. That's just, business as usual. I guess she's done it so much, who pays attention to it? But in the unguarded moment, it seems like somebody's stepping on her foot. And then when she sees the camera, that's when the performance kicks in. Grinning and grinning and grinning. Laugh and grin. Throw my hair extensions, laugh, grin. And they have the nerves to attack the Sussexes, who are actually making a difference, who have done their homework. One of the big weapons they like to use is word salad. Even that one reporter from the Daily Mail went to the Ms. event when they got chased around New York. One of the reporters, I forget her name, she went to that event in New York. And of course, what did she say? Oh, it was just word salad. Well, you could say that, but it doesn't make it true. I've heard people say over and over again that Meghan comparing automobile safety to the online streaming services, the online social media, that was one of the most brilliant analogies that people have heard in a while. And yet the derangers, they seem to be satisfied with the mediocre. Any little effort will do. They can do the least and get celebrated just for showing up. All they talk about is what she wore, but it's not important enough that it trends. It's not interesting enough that anybody runs out to buy it. No. Everything that the Sussexes do seems to have a wider significance. Clothing manufacturers, they sell more products. Sometimes they hire more people because of Meghan. And when the Sussexes show up at these events, they're prepared. They've done the homework. Like when they were in New York and Meghan met one of the people being honored at the Intrepid Gala, he said, "How did you know all that about me?" Because she done the homework. She knew his rank, his experience, his honors that he's had, that he went to Northwestern. She knew all of that stuff. You're not going to get that from Will and Kate. You're going to get the very least. They are not interested. They are not prepared. They are just going through the motions. And I'm, for one, am just exhausted of the criticism of Harry and Meghan that's actually doing the work. That's them entering the place. That's them entering. They're the ones that look vacant. There's nothing behind their gaze. They're the ones that's lost. Harry looks hollow. Harry looks broken. Harry knows what's going on. If anything, Harry looks like that because Harry feels like that. Harry's listening to parents talk about their worst nightmare, and his reaction is what we've seen. The first time that Harry tried to speak at that event, or at least one of the times when he tried to speak, he blew into the microphone because he had so much emotion trapped inside of him that before he could get his words out, he went, I heard that. I saw him do it. And it's not the first time. That happened at Well Child. But these monsters that supposedly support William and Kate, that are royalists, they pretend like they don't know what Harry's been through, or they want him to stop talking about it so that they can help these two mediocre people shine in spite of everything that they've done. But wait a minute, though. I'm not even done yet. Let's see. I'll get back to that. I think I've lost my place here. Let me see if I can find what was supposed to come up next. Oh, yeah. That's out of order. But let me go to it. This right here. Harry and Meghan have been in New York promoting mental health, yet their personal attacks on the royal family are disgraceful, writes Maureen Richard Eden. What about William and Kate's mental well-being? What about it? Given all that they have cost the Sussexes, and if anybody's been paying attention, you know what that cost was. Meghan wrote an article about it in the New York Times, an op-ed piece. Given everything that they've had to pay because of their whims, because of their hostility, their plotting and scheming, given everything that it has cost them, who gives a damn? I don't. I really don't. I could care less. It haven't cost them the same. They celebrated for it. They have an institution. They have the tabloid media. They got all kinds of things going for them. Harry and Meghan have to work hard not only to honor their commitment to their life of charity and philanthropy, but also for their family security. Their security is not paid for. It's not a guarantee. It's not assured. They have to pay for that. And for their children. Their children's future. And their children, most likely. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm not interested in what's going on for them. It is a tragedy of their own making, whatever is going on. Wherever someone's fingers look the way they do, or why someone seems so insecure, and actually both of them, insecure and unsure of themselves, I really don't care. I'm not interested. Just leave Harry and Meghan alone. Now, let me go back to where I was, because something struck me as ironic. This right here. Why does, oh, by the way, Judy says Kate should go in her, right, she should go in her stash and help her parents. Well, I'm not sure that she hasn't, Judy, because we still haven't found that jewelry. And if you have something like that that's missing and you're related to Uncle Gary, I'm sure it wouldn't be impossible to, you know what I'm saying? Uncle Gary would take care of it. He takes care of everything. So why is it that Helen Bonham Carter, why does it look like she's always in the middle of a seance? I mean, she is literally dressed up like she's in the middle of a seance, like she should be rubbing a crystal ball. And if she is the medium, then what does that make Camilla? The ghost of tacky past? Is Camilla the ghost of tacky past? Is that really Camilla, or is that something that has come back from the great beyond? I ask you. But yeah, and by the way, clever of Camilla to wear something that seems like the carpet. I can't tell if she's actually, I don't know where the carpet begins and where that dress ends. I'm just saying. But yeah. Well, you know, Helen Bonham Carter, she's always been a bit wacky, and I mean, I like her though. She's a great actress. Let me say that, and she has her own style. Very Vivienne Westwood, very Cyndi Lauper, very London 1980s, right? Very 1980s London. But yeah, she always looks like she's in the middle of a seance. And of course, the other thing I've been trying to work out, why is Camilla always creeping about? Why is she always leering and lurking in the cut somewhere? She's always, it's like a mouse running along the wall, you know? A mouse doesn't like to be in the middle of the floor. It just kind of scurries about the corners of the room. why is she always doing that? That really creeps me out. I'm sure it creeps out everybody. I mean, you're just walking along and all of a sudden, Camilla steps out. I'm just asking for a friend. That's all. I'm just asking for a friend. It's not the most important thing in the world, but those are just a couple of things I've been trying to work out. Helen Bonham Carter always looks like she's in the middle of a seance. Camilla always creeping up on people. And of course, that striking resemblance to Ernest Borgnine. These are just a few of the questions that I have, a few of the things that I have been trying to work out. Recollections may vary. So anyway, to hell with them. I don't care what their story is. I think those are two cruel, very malicious people. And, one of these days, that's all I can say is one of these days, those are two cruel, malicious people. They have, in my opinion, allegedly, they have done some pretty dodgy things, and that people that Richard Eden would dare say, what about their mental health? What about it? What about it? I don't care. When they were sitting in Westminster Abbey so full of themselves, they didn't care what Harry and Meghan was going through. When they were toasting the person that they allegedly weaponized against the Sussexes, they didn't care. They're sitting up there having a laugh. It's just so much fun. It's so funny, don't you know? They're having a good time at Harry and Meghan's expense. And so I'm going to close tonight with another one of the prayers that was provided by a squatty. Prayer for Meghan and Harry, Archie, and Lilibet, and Mama Doria. Circle them, Lord. Keep love within. Keep hatred out. Keep joy within. Keep fear out. Keep peace within. Keep worry out. Keep light within. Keep darkness out. May you stand in the circle with them today and always. Amen. So that is a Celtic prayer that someone added for them. So thank you very much. And thank you all. Thank you, moderators, as usual, for keeping this a safe space. And thank you for your very kind and thoughtful contributions to Royal Sussex. And and thank you for 43,000 subscribers, 43,000 and some change. Greatly appreciate it. Also, you guys, make sure that with all this stuff going on with war and everything else, that you are protecting your mental health. Like I said, I've seen some stuff that I probably shouldn't have. And while I am sorry I did, at the same time, it couldn't be any worse than the people that are suffering through it. And that does include the families in the kibbutz. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that there were some people, children at that, of the Israelis that died. And amongst that, there was also some agitators too. A lot of those people that live in those settlements, they're in those places because some Palestinian family was removed. So we can't lose sight of that. But the children are truly the most innocent among us, and they should be kept sacred. They should be safe. They shouldn't be in a field of battle or a place of war under any circumstances. They deserve better than that. So first and foremost, we have to pray for those children because they're being scarred on the outside and on the inside. This can't be easy for anybody. Let's see. Yeah, I saw that Mystic Toxin. That was very difficult. That was very, very difficult. It makes you feel funny inside seeing that. And I saw that one too. I've seen like all types of situations like that. And it is jarring. And so hopefully this will not be in vain. That's something good will come out of all of this evil, I pray, and that those kids can sit around and get fat on McDonald's just like the kids every place else do. You know, those kids should be getting fat on McDonald's, getting high on Starbucks, playing their video games, learning their lessons, not in those situations. There's too much wealth. There's too much technology for there to be war. We should know better. We should do better. Audrey Teschner, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. Greatly appreciate it. Let me see here. Yeah, and we're done. All right, you guys. So I'm going to go. I got a busy day tomorrow, so wish me luck. But yeah, my morning and afternoon is going to be a little busy, so I will definitely be on later tomorrow, and we'll make it do what it do. I mean, it's not a big deal, but you know how I am. I get anxiety about the mornings. I'm not a morning person. I have major anxiety about mornings. All that light, all those people commuting and in a hurry. And I'm always wondering, where are they going in all of this bright, intense light? Doesn't it hurt their eyes? Mine are hurting. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. In the mornings when it's so bright and so busy and the birds are chirping, it is for me that's jarring. That's unnatural. A very wise woman once said, she said, I love the nightlife. I got to boogie on the disco round. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Very wise woman. She said, please don't talk about love tonight. Please don't talk about sweet love. I want to go where the people dance. I want action. I want to live. That's me. Action. I got so much to give, and I want to give it, and I want to get some too. Because I love the nightlife. That's a beautiful poem. And I got the boogie on the disco round. Whoa, whoa, yeah. I'm telling you, people don't people don't write poetry like that anymore. They just don't. You don't find poems like that. But whoever wrote that poem, they understood me. They really get me. Whoever wrote that poem, they get me. Yeah. There's nothing more majestic in this world than an overcaffeinated chubby baby boomer boogieing on a disco round. Yeah. It's like the portrait Norman Rockwell forgot to paint. A baby boomer at a disco. Yeah. I'd buy that painting. I put that right over my sofa. Yeah, I would. Something like that belongs in the Museum of Metropolitan Art or Metropolitan Museum of Art. Yeah. The Orsay Gallery, right? That's where you want to see something like that. It's for the impact wall. When someone walks into your home, that's what they need, is to see me on a disco round. I'd pay to see that. Alicia Bridges? No, that wasn't Alicia Bridges, was it? I thought it was someone else, but I guess, yeah, you're right. It is Alicia. It is Alicia Bridges. She's the, oh, it's a song? I thought that was a poem. Are you sure that's a song? I thought that was a poem. Well, whatever it is, okay. I bet you this is a poem. Turn the beat around, love to feel percussion. Turn it upside down, I got to feel percussion. Right? That's a poem. Now, I know that's a poem. I'm pretty sure that's not a song. Turn the beat around, turn it around. Love to feel percussion. My. Turn it upside down. Whoa, yeah. Love to feel percussion. That's my jam there. That is my jam. Turn the beat around. Oh, I tell you, if more people in this world would just turn the beat around, this world would be a much happier place. Well, Gloria Estefan was not the original artist. It was Vicki Sue Robinson. Yeah, I don't really care for Gloria. I like Vicki Sue Robinson. That is my favorite for that song. Yeah, Gloria Estefan, she was all right, but I'm all about Vicki Sue Robinson. Well, can't you see I made up my mind about it? Got to be the rhythm, and no doubt about it. Whoa. And when the drums start playing that beat, love that beat with a syncopated rhythm with a rat tat 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 on the drum. Hey, turn the beat around, turn it around. My. Yeah, Vicki Sue Robinson all day long. They don't make them like that no more. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I got to turn the beat around, and I got to get up early tomorrow. Wish me luck. In the daylight. Where's my sunglasses? Let me see here. Oh, okay. I was looking for our queens. There we go. I know Doria knows Vicki Sue Robinson. And of course, our Queen Diana. Our queens. That's the reason why the Sussexes are so great. It's the moms. Yeah. Oh, you love the nightlife too, huh? Me too. Okay. Yeah, it is time. Cue the Ginger Avenger. All right. Good night, all. Love you guys. And please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to, well, you know, I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm going to try to remember to put a link for World Central Kitchen. If you can, and try to leave it in the Sussex's name, okay? And or find someplace else. But trust me, you'll feel better if you do something proactive. I could promise you that. Whatever you can afford, okay? All right, see you guys. But where are you now? Now that I need you, tears on my pillow whenever you go. So cry me a river that leads to your ocean, and know that there'll be nobody left in this world to hold me tight. Nobody left in this world to kiss goodnight. Good night, good night, good night, good night. I'm here at your side, a part of all the things you are. But you had part of someone else. You go to find your morning star. That was Samantha Sang, right? Samantha Sang. Okay. Now I'm just like in the mood for some oldies but goodies. I love that song, Samantha Sang. That was my jammy jam. All right, good night.